let's get Shields on right now. Jake, are you there?
Yeah, hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Just got a little workout done, so about to drive home, and I think I'm gonna meet Gil. I think Nick's gonna be there. Get one more training session in tonight.
Awesome. Where are you training at right now? You at your academy?
No, I just actually out in East Bay did some boxing out here. Now I'm gonna meet head back to San Francisco to meet Gilbert, and I'm pretty sure Nick Diaz is coming out as well. So I think we're gonna do grappling tonight.
Awesome. Do you still have your school over there in Berkeley?
No, actually, I gave it up about a year and a half ago. I just got really busy with other things. I decided to just sell it off to my partner and concentrate on fighting.
Okay. Can I ask you a question real quick, and then we'll get into like the more meaty stuff. But when did you open that school in Berkeley?
It was originally about 3.5 years ago. But yeah, I gave it up like a year and a half ago. So.
Okay. Cool. I was trying to put a timeline together for myself because I've been doing this for a little while now, but you're actually like the very first fighter I ever met. You let me into that school. Like, you let me into your school when you first opened up, and I went in there and I filmed you guys training. I mean, this was a while ago, like you said, 3.5 years ago. And so I was just trying to put a timeline together for myself.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact dates, actually, to be honest. I'm kind of just guessing.
All right, right on. Cool. So, let's talk about your fight. With the UFC just officially announced that you're fighting Tyron Woodley. That's a pretty interesting matchup, man. And you're taking it at welterweight, so you kind of gave up the middleweight ambitions and are going back down to 170. Can you just kind of fill me in on all that and what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a hard time keeping my weight up 85s. You know, my weight to be up, I was eating all the time, lifting all the time, and the top weight I ever hit was still around 195, and it's just not big enough. So I decided to stay down at 70s. And, Tyron Woodley, that's the fight they offered me. So it's I know he's a good wrestler, good boxer, pretty good jiu-jitsu. So he's an all-around tough guy. So a fight I'm very excited for. You know, I haven't watched enough of his tape yet. I'm going to start watching him, seeing exactly what he does. But I've seen a few of his fights, and I know he's a really athletic, tough guy.
Yeah. He just made his UFC debut a couple weeks ago, and the guy came out, like, super impressive. Knocked out Jay Heron real quick.
He looked great against Jay Heron. So.
Yeah, he did. What do you think about all these Strikeforce guys making waves? I mean, you were one of the first imports, and now there's a long list of guys. What do you think about that?
I've always thought Strikeforce was a really good show, stacked with top talent, and it was never quite got the respect because UFC did a great job of branding themselves. I always when I was in Strikeforce, I knew how deep the talent was, so I'm not surprised at all to see these guys doing so well.
Okay.
And we got Gil Melendez, Strikeforce champ, fighting UFC champ. So that's a fight. I think Gil definitely stands a good shot of beating Ben too. So that's going to be a really great fight coming up.
Yeah, we just talked to Caesar. He opened up the show with us, and he seems pretty excited about that Gilbert Melendez Benson Henderson fight. I know you're real close with Gil. How is his preparation going, and what's the energy like over there with him?
Oh, it's great. He's super excited. Gil's he's been a top fighter for years, but never quite got the mainstream recognition and respect he deserves. This is his chance for him to go out there and do it, and just and showcase what he can do and beat Ben. And it's Ben's obviously a tough fight. I think Gil and Ben are very similar in a lot of ways, but right now I see Gil going out there and pulling an upset.
Okay. And what about you, Jake? What is your involvement? Are you in Gilbert's camp? Are you there full time for him and helping him? Because I know you kind of brought him in the game. And are you still there with him like every step of the way as he goes through this journey?
Yeah, definitely. I'm one of the head guys that train him and keeps the camp organized, and it's I'm definitely there for him almost every day. So it's he's looking good. I think we're about 7 weeks out now, so he's right on schedule, and every day he looks a little bit better. That's why I'm going to wrestle him tonight, and he's just he's feeling better and better, and I think he's gonna go out there and win this. Okay.
And give me your thoughts too on Nick's fight coming up next week against GSP.
Yeah, that's another great one. I fought GSP and trained with Nick for the last 11 years, and that's one I couldn't be more excited for. It's so great. Nick and Gil, these guys that I've trained with for 11 years, they're both the biggest fights imaginable, and if they can both pull them off, that'll be a huge year for our camp.
Yeah, well, how do you see how do you see the fight with Nick and GSP going down? You've obviously, you spent 25 minutes with GSP, and so what advice do you give him, and what kind of tricks can you help him with, and where do you think he's going to succeed where others have not in the past?
I mean, don't want to get too much away in the game plan, but I think Nick just needs to keep a lot of pressure on GSP, not let him stay away, keep the pressure, and if GSP takes it down, he needs to be really aggressive off his back and not let GSP, sit there and just throw elbows. And things he's been working on, and Nick's in shape, and we know Nick's one of those guys that always shows up to fight. I've never seen Nick not come in ready, so it's going to be a war.
Okay, George.
What I was going to ask you was the same thing we talked to Caesar about earlier. A lot of people think the fight is very cut and dry. They're like, oh, well, GSP is just going to take him down, hold him down for 5 rounds. He's fought so many black belts. He's a black belt himself. Why is Nick's game so much different than everybody else that George has done had a similar strategy for?
I just think his jiu-jitsu is a lot better. I mean, he might have fought some black belts, but he hasn't fought, an elite black belt at mixed level. He's, he beat Sarah, who's a great black belt, but I feel like Sarah's a lot smaller than him, and at the time was maybe a little past his time. And Nick's still right in his peak, and his jiu-jitsu is just so phenomenal. I think he's gonna have a lot of trouble on top of him. I mean, even Carlos Condit gave him some trouble on bottom. I think Nick's jiu-jitsu is well beyond Carlos's.
Interesting. Let's talk about what have you been doing? You're on athletic. You've been on athletic suspension. I just want to know, have you been staying active? What is your mindset been? You've been going through some turmoil in your personal life, with your father passing, and then you get suspended. And I just want to know how are you doing, and what have you been up to, like personally?
Yeah, actually, really good. Yeah, a few bad things happened in the last year. We lose being worse. Suspension and all that sort of pain, but I've stayed really active. Been training every day. I went to Thailand for a couple of weeks and trained Muay Thai over there, and I've stayed active in Nate's camp, Gil's camp. I've been staying active with these guys, and I'm really hungry to fight again. This is giving me being away from the sports made me mix it even more. So it's made me hungrier than ever, and I can't wait to get back in there and show the world that I'm far from done.
That's exciting. Go ahead, George.
Do you feel like you're flying under the radar a little bit in this fight? Because the 170-pound division has you guys got so many challengers, so many different new faces now that are trying to put their name up there for a title shot. Hendricks is fighting Condit. Rory McDonald is making a name. Tarek Safin won a big fight, coming over from Strikeforce. You have a lot of new guys. Do you feel like you're flying under the radar a little bit? It's because you were top dog, not only in one weight class, but actually 2 weight classes simultaneously, really. Do you feel like you're flying under the radar? Have people forgotten about Jake Shields a little bit, that you're also a top welterweight?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm one of the very best welterweights out there, and I've been forgotten about a little bit and pushed aside. So I need to go out there and make a statement with this fight and show them that I'm still a top guy out there, and I need another title shot. So I need to go out there and not only win, I need to go out there and finish Tyron Woodley and look great doing it.
When you look at his, I don't know if you've had a lot of time to look at Tyron Woodley's game, but he's, you guys said he's a strong wrestler. Again, you're also a strong wrestler. Whether they cancel each other out, I don't know. But your submission grappling, I think that most would agree is exponentially better, or a good bit better, and probably one of the best in the division. Is that a big problem for him on the ground, even with his strong wrestling background?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think my submissions are way ahead of his. So it's with him being a great wrestler, I have a feeling he's going to try to stay away and try to use his, he's a hard hitter, try to use his stand-up. So it's a matter of me either be able to beat him to his feet or getting him to the ground. So I'm feeling, it's possible to take down. He doesn't like to wrestle, but I have a feeling he's going to want to keep it standing.
Makes sense. Let me ask you this, Jake. How was your time in Thailand? That's a place I've always wanted to go. I haven't had the opportunity. So what was that like for you?
Oh, yeah, it's great. I highly recommend going over there. We're staying at I stayed over at Tiger Muay Thai. We're close to the beach, islands out there, great food, nice people, great training. It's a place I highly recommend going, especially when it's cold. I went there right in the middle of the winter, and it's nice and sunny and warm over there every day.
Awesome. What was the most exotic food you had while you were over there? Did you try any of the delicacies in Thailand? Because I know they get pretty rad.
Well, I don't eat meat, so I didn't have any of the fried bugs or anything.
Oh,
that's probably the weirdest thing. Yeah, so I didn't have anything weird, but I ate some food I wasn't sure what it was, but nothing too crazy.
Okay, cool. Let me ask you this, and I don't want you to expose yourself in any way. Like I said, I hold a lot of loyalty to you. You're the first fighter that I actually met face to face outside of BJ, and you and I have kept in touch over the years. But I'm wondering, and I know a lot of people are wondering. When you got suspended, you came out and you announced it. You like preemptively said, "I messed up. I felt positive. I'm going to be suspended." Okay. But you got suspended in a state that was like a non-disclosure state where they don't really release the medical records and what you got suspended for. I'm not going to sit here and ask you what you failed for. That's your own private business. But do you think that was the best? Was that the best way to do it? Should you have come out and said what you popped for, or do you feel comfortable leaving people to speculate that maybe it was this or maybe it was that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. When you talk about manager, maybe I'll come out and talk about the details. It was one of those things. I made a little mistake and figure out the best way to deal with it. The fight's coming up, so I'm sure I haven't really done any interviews lately, so I'm sure I'll be dealing with all that again. So maybe it's something I'll bring up and get into further detail soon.
Okay, cool. I was just curious about that. I don't mean to put any pressure on you there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I understand. Obviously, it's something I'm sure that'll be brought up, so maybe it's better just to get all the details and everything soon.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about, actually, that has been running across, you see it in a lot of forums and a lot of stories, is all the UFC cuts and a lot of the surprising ones. The name like John Fitch, again, another top-ranked welterweight for a long, long time. You and him kind of sat side by side in the rankings for years and years. Is that something that weighs in the back of your mind, and were you surprised by that cut and some of the other ones?
I mean, yeah, definitely. It's cutting him is crazy. It makes you realize they can cut anyone. It definitely puts it in your head that you better go out there and perform, because it's not about how well you do, I guess. It's about, they want us to make sure you're performing right, and guys that are paying more, they're more likely to cut. It's showing that they're cutting a lot of fighters, and they plan on cutting 100 more. So, I mean, definitely means they want to go out there and win, and also want to go out there and put on a good show.
Do you feel like that takes away from the sport at all, or is that just part of the business?
Yeah, I think it does. I don't think it's good, but I guess it's, but it's also a business. They're the ones running it, so it's their decision to make.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I was. You know what I thought was fishy about that whole situation is the UFC comes out and they release a ranking system. Okay, which is awesome. Everybody likes to see rankings, whether they mean anything or not. It's still cool to see the numbers. And then they have John Fitch ranked as their number 9 welterweight, I believe, is what he was ranked at. Okay. And then the very next week he gets cut. And in my mind, I'm just like, how did they at their own admission, they're releasing these rankings. He's a top 10 guy. But not good enough.
Yeah, no, I think any drop in a top 10 guy is just crazy unless they've done something like, maybe multiple drug test failures or something really crazy to insult the company. But I don't think, if they've been a company man and played by the rules in the top 10, cutting you seems unfair to me. That's my opinion. Obviously it's not my country, not my company, so it doesn't matter. But I don't think it was right to cut John Fitch.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let me ask you this. Another teammate. You have Nate Diaz coming up, getting ready to fight Josh Thompson in the near future. Josh is a Bay Area guy like you are. You guys are all NorCal residents. I don't know this for certainty, but I'm sure you've had some experience with Thompson over the years. Just you guys lived in so close together. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Oh man, it's a great fight. I've trained with Josh a little, trained with Nate a lot. Josh is tough. He's good at what he does, but I think Nate's a tough matchup for him. Nate stays in his face, and he's going to break him. You just got to watch, where Josh stands a chance if he can take him down and play it kind of safe. Because if he opens up, Nate will beat him. But Josh, this guy capable of giving him a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. I know you have to be familiar with Josh even outside of training with him because of the Gilbert Melendez trilogy. That guy seems to be like Gilbert Melendez almost kryptonite because those are the most competitive fights that Gil's been in, I think. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, they've had three battles together, and Josh has given them give him a lot of trouble. He's definitely one of the toughest matchups for Gil.
Okay. What do you think about this, Jake? It's something that's been up over the past week and a half or so. Matt Riddle, UFC welterweight, he failed for marijuana for the second time, got cut, and you are affiliated with the notoriously cannabis advocate Nick Diaz. Do you think that was fair treatment for Matt to be cut for marijuana, especially being that he was prescribed it? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. That's a tricky question because I think you should be able to smoke. I don't think there's a test for it, is my opinion. But at the same time, if you just tested for it and you're going to get drug tested again, it's like you got to be ready to pass the test. And this is something Nick's dealt with too, and I really hope he comes through clean this time and doesn't run into something like this. It's just like if you're getting tested, either find a way to cleanse it out of your system or whatever. But especially twice in a row, I think everyone should get one pass on it. But if you fell for it twice, then it's on you.
What does it say about people getting therapeutic exemptions for testosterone, but yet you fail for pot? And
yeah, I think that's completely unfair. I think if he's supposed to get exempt for testosterone, he's supposed to get exempt for pot, especially since pot's not been shown to be a performance enhancer. I mean, some guys, maybe for some guys it might be a mild enhancer, maybe allows them to sleep better and stuff like that. So it might help them fit out their camps, but it's not actually going to help them on fight night. It's not going to make them stronger and faster like TRT.
Right.
That's true. Okay. What are your thoughts of the UFC 158, the whole welterweight gauntlet? What besides your teammate Nick's fight, what other fights are like the big marquee fights on the night next weekend?
Man, a bunch of good fights. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Condit. What's the name of the guy's fighting? Condit. Wrestler, I can't think of his name right now.
Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah, Hendricks. That should be a great fight. A tough one to call. I think Connie gives him a lot of trouble though with the style matchup. So that's a good fight. Also Ellenberger Marcourt. That's another close fight. Go either way. I mean, it's definitely a good card.
Where do you see yourself in that whole mix-up, Jake?
Oh man, I would love to fight all those top guys. It's like I was hoping to get on that card. I called right away when I heard. As soon as I heard that, who ended up pulling out? It was the guy that was supposed to fight Hendricks. So someone pulled on. Rory McDonald. I heard he pulled out. I called right away asking to get in the mix-up, but unfortunately, they put Marcourt in there instead.
Yep, that would have been nice, huh? Are you ready to fight if the UFC called you as a last-minute replacement? Are you good to go? Not for that card necessarily.
Well, now I wouldn't be, but I was. That happened like it's been 4 weeks out of my fight, so I felt like I was ready by then. And I could step in fight like in April, something like that. I feel like I'm ready in a month, but 2 weeks is too close. I usually get ready in like a month. I try to stay in shape year round.
How hard is that cut to 170 pounds these days? Has it gotten worse over the years when you cut to 170? It kind of floated around.
It's been really tough on me in the past, but right now I got my weight in check. I've been like eating really clean, doing a lot of running, and just keep my weight down to around 185. There's been times when I've blown up, but I'm trying to keep my eating habits a lot better.
So when you fight the guys at 170, and you fight the guys at 180, so when you fight the middleweights, do you see the strength and size difference, or when you get to go down to welterweight, do you see a speed difference? The middleweights are definitely a lot stronger, but then that's the thing, the welterweights are faster. So it's kind of, do I want to deal with bigger, stronger guys or smaller guys that are a lot faster? So, and I'm kind of, like I said, I'm okay fighting either way. It's just kind of, I'm not saying I won't fight 85s again, especially if Nick Diaz wins the title, then I'm not going to be trying to challenge Nick Diaz. So if I can put a couple wins together, I might just move up and say, obviously, I'm not going to challenge Nick.
Makes sense.
Right.
I have a question for you, Jake. This is kind of a throwback question, man. You competed for my bosses, the Pens, at Rumble on the Rock in the big welterweight tournament. And
yeah.
I just want to know, when you look back on that event, how does that rank to you? Because you beat some pretty good guys in that tournament. I mean, where does that stand out in your list of accomplishments?
Yeah, that was. I mean, so I've done a lot of great accomplishments. That was definitely a huge one. That tournament was stacked. I mean, Anderson Silva was in there, but it's the first round I beat beat Dave Monet, who's a former UFC champ. He's kind of forgotten about now probably, but at the time he was really big, former champ. And then after that, in one night, I was able to go through Yushin Okami and Carlos Condit, who are two of the best. So to have two wars like that and win in one night was a very proud moment.
Yeah, and what's changed now? I mean, there's obviously a lot has changed in the world of MMA, but in your eyes, from that night to current date, how has Jake Shields' MMA world changed?
It's changed in a lot of ways. Just for one, guys are constantly getting better. I mean, more and more fighters are getting better, but also a lot more popular. It's just, it's big now. At that point, it was starting to break through a little mainstream, but it wasn't huge yet. It was big in Hawaii because they love fighting in Hawaii. So we sold a lot of seats there, but it hadn't really hadn't quite crossed into the mainstream yet. And now it's just everywhere. I do a lot of traveling, and I see it everywhere.
Yeah. Is it? Now let's forget about like the money aspect, but like because obviously there's more money in it now. But is it better? Is it better now or back then? Would you say, in your opinion?
The sport?
Yeah, the sport in general.
That's tough. It's both. It's tough because I liked it better back then because it was pure. Everyone that involved in it was the love of the sport. It was just like everyone really loved what they were doing. We just loved fighting. It was definitely pure. People weren't in for the wrong reasons. Now you get a lot of guys that are in it trying just to get fame or money, and there's lots of annoying business stuff to deal with it. But we make a lot more money. So overall, I'll say it's better now.
Better now. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot about the sport then, but we weren't making any money, so it's nice to be able to make a good living doing this.
Right. Makes sense. And that's what I kind of figured. The money's good now. Everybody needs to make a living, and it's nice. You guys get the notoriety and the fame, and you get nice paychecks at the end of the day. But back then, it did seem more pure. It did seem more about martial arts.
Because there wasn't the money and the fame in it. So everyone was doing it we were doing it because we really wanted to do it, and that part was awesome. But it's when it comes down to it, we also like the money and the fame. So overall, it's a good thing. You just get people in it for the wrong reasons.
Yep. Sounds good. All right, Jake. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, man, and I wish you the best of luck in your upcoming fight with Woodley and in your preparation with it, and hope all goes well for you.
All right. Cool.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, Mr. Matthews.
That was Jake Shields. Yeah, that's gonna be a good fight, man. That's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah.
I really do. I was very genuine. I really do think a lot of people are counting him out. A lot of people think that. I think Tyron Woodley's knockout victory, UFC knockout victory, is so fresh in people's heads, and Jake has been so far removed from current MMA standings that people forget. I think.
Well, yeah, MMA fans have a very short-term memory, and like it or not, like we were talking about it earlier, a lot of people just like to hate on Jake. You know what I mean? He's always counted out, but this guy, man, he's a veteran. I mean, he fought, like we just were talking about, a Rumble on the Rock, beat freaking Yushin Okami and Carlos Condit in the same night. I mean, how many people can actually say that?
And again, that's what I was saying earlier. You heard Alan talking. Yushin is tough. He's lost to Yushin twice, and he's considered one of the top middleweights in the world. Here's a guy that is really supposed to be fighting at 170 pounds.
Yeah,
he has a tough time keeping weight on. Should be fighting at 170. Has gone up and down and has had success in both weight classes. And to beat a guy like Okami, and then also beat Condit in the same night, those are huge accomplishments.
Yeah.
And counting Jake out is a big mistake.
I think we could have got what he tested positive for out of him. I just didn't want to press that.
Yeah, I think he's going to say it in his own time.
Yeah.
And really, it hasn't. It's not like everybody's been clamoring to find out, what exactly he failed for. I mean, that's his business. And
he hasn't talked to anybody. So when you're silent, you know what I mean. When you kind of go underground for a bit, there's no way it's going to get out. I think we're the first people he's talked to in a long time. So
can only speculate. You can only speculate, really. You know, they've got strict privacy laws in that state, and but it was only a 6-month suspension.
Yeah. If you were Ariel Helwani, you would have gotten out of them, George.
Probably, if I was Ariel Helwani, I might have been waiting for him in his living room with a camera guy to ask him what exactly he failed for. So, I'm just kidding, Ariel.
Step up your game. Step up your game, George.
I know. Apparently, I need to step my game up and start, breaking into people's houses and hiding out with cameras or something like that. No, we're just kidding, Ariel. We know you don't do that, but we're just using some satire and making light of things.
All right. Well, what do you think, man? That was our show. I don't know if we're going to be back next week. You want to come back next week, or should we hire some hosts?
I don't know. I guess we should see how this one goes, huh? We can come back next week, I guess. Why not? Until people get tired of hearing us.
Yeah. I'm looking at the numbers, man. We're doing pretty good. So looks like it's an improvement from the last show. Maybe it's just the lineup we had. We had some pretty good guests today.
So Caesar, Jake, and Alan. Those guys always have some interesting things to talk about. And like you said, Jake hasn't even talked to anybody since the last fight. And he's probably going to have a media storm coming up for the fight with Woodley, and it was good to talk to him before everybody else did.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, that's it, huh? That's our. I think this is our radio debut, man, and we did pretty good. Probably we'll listen back and think that we didn't do so good, but we made it happen.
I'm patting myself on the back right now.
I'm proud of you, dude. I'm so proud of you. I mean, me, I'm just here. I'm always here. I'm always in the background somewhere. But you, this is like your coming out party. Totally. George and Matthews, Team 10.
But it was fun, and it's easy to how many times have you and I had this have had probably this exact conversation over the year minus the guests. So it's pretty easy to do.
Oh yeah, dude. You and me, we'll talk for hours.
Yeah, we'll sit there for, we've actually talked about, we could have recorded this entire conversation. So, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It's easy. It was fun. It was good to talk to those guys and get a lot of interesting insight about some of the things that are going on, and not just their fights, but a lot of the things that are going on in general.
All right. Yeah, it was. All right, well, we'll play this week by week. We actually, believe it or not, I have a long list of applicants wanting to take over the hosting positions here at BJPenn.com radio. Once word spread that our last hosts have left us and they're going on to bigger and better things, apparently, the applications started flooding in. So you and I will take this week by week. We'll see how it goes, and we'll be back next week, I guess, huh, with a pretty good panel, with a pretty good guest list, man. I think that if people liked this week's guests, they're going to love next week even more, because I got some pretty big names in the works and some guys that really are probably going to have a lot to say.
That's right. Make the announcement shortly, everybody. Be sure to look out for the announcement who the guests are going to be, because always deliver that department.
Yes, sir. All right, we're done, man. Should I play our little jingle we got going on?
I think you should play the jingle. I want an outro.
All right, here we go. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll be back next week. Same time, same place, BJPenn.com. There it is. Oh, yeah. That's a sexy beat, huh?
Oh, very.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. I'm going to cut this off. Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll get back to you next week.